Okay, here's another one here. Let's say you have to draw something, a couple different shapes other than just a few, like the coffee mug I had shown. Um, and I need a reference here. I need to draw a bottle, and I can't really see it, as far as my mind's eye goes. So I need a reference point. Again, this is not about going in here and tracing it. We're going to make our own. So we're going to take this here, and I'm going to start with the rectangle tool. And just looking right now, I need a fill or a stroke so I can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom in a little, and I'm going to slide this over just a little bit to see what I'm working with. Okay, so look at these different kind of curves here, and it can be a little frustrating to get all of this, exactly like that. Um, think of it this way: if you don't have a product in front of you, I'm not saying go make a trip to the grocery store, to the hardware store, or whatever. But when you're out and about, documenting these things, taking pictures of them and seeing how things are made, how they're shaped, is going to help a lot in how we design things, but also in how we draw them. So if you need to mock up this for a customer, or let's say you need to draw icons for a user interface or an infographic or something, it's really important just to like look how things are made. Okay. And something I say all the time in class is, what do these things look like? So let's break down what this thing looks like. It is a cylinder, but we got some different shapes to it. So it's kind of not a cylinder. So I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the direct selection tool, and I'm going to drag across these top two. And I know that this is going to contour in a little, so I'm going to drag in like this. So I kind of got the start of this shape. Now notice here, I'm going to go back. When I drag in, you can see the math taking place. I would suggest not just like going through like, oh, that looks good. Let's not do that. Let's pick and choose, some even math. Okay, I'm going to say it's probably more than a quarter inch. What if it's, I'm going to go with a half inch of a contour there. They're even on both sides. Good enough. I want to add a little bit of depth to this thing, so I'm going to grab my ellipse tool, even it up there. I'm going to find the point. I'm going to use my shape builder tool again, and we're getting closer already. It's slight, maybe not enough. If I wanted to go back, maybe that's not, I'm not happy with that because I'm actually not. And, sometimes we can't leave things alone. So let's try this again. I'm going to make sure all this is centered. Looks like it is. And I like that much better. Subtle, different. Okay. Now I've got all of this in place. I'm going to start working on this top portion. And what I'm going to do is start again with the rectangle tool. And actually, I'm going to build out some layers. So I'm going to go with something like this. Okay. And then for this giant piece, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Okay. Now, instead of trying to, draw that with a pen tool, which you can do if you want, but I'm not really interested in doing that. I'm going to draw this rectangle instead. I'm going to use my direct selection tool. I'm going to select this corner and drag it down. And quickly, I've got the nozzle to this blow off duster of my own product, I guess. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and fine tune a few things before I go any farther. I can see here that I got a bit of a problem with the width. See, it kind of overhangs slightly. So let's kind of see where these points are. And, maybe that's going to be it. And what I'm going to do is drag over all of these. I'm going to line them. Okay, they're lined up. Looking pretty good. I'm going to make sure this thing is lined up. That looks okay. So you can see the shape is already there. I'm almost done with my shape already. So if I wanted to add on a little nozzle like this, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little. We're going to pull this in. If I have a little straw there, you can do one of two things. We're going to use this line segment tool, which is buried. I'm sorry, it's not buried. It's at the top here. I was thinking of Photoshop, it's buried. But we're an Illustrator. So I'm going to use a line segment tool. I'm going to hold Shift and drag across. So I'm going to kind of line things up. I know I'm center there. If I hold down Shift, I'm going to drag in, let go. Okay, now this is a line versus a shape. All these other things are shapes, right? We'll fix that part in a minute. So now what I want to do is create a little bit of the trigger here. And I'm thinking of how I'm going to do that a few different ways. What I'm going to try first is actually using a rectangle. Now, I'm going to be very transparent. I have not done this before. I didn't practice this beforehand, so I'm winging it. But I'm confident that this is going to work out. So I'm looking at how I'm going to line up this circle. Drag this down. It's not quite lined up yet. Maybe this needs to come out. We'll see what happens. We're going to go with this right now. I'm going to take these, highlight them both, and I got to get to some of my tools here. Okay, I'm going to use in the Pathfinder what's called the minus front. I'm going to subtract things from the front. So if I have those both highlighted, I just subtracted the circle from the rectangle because I drew that last. And it's not a bad looking nozzle, but I can do a little bit better. I'm going to use a direct selection tool and get to this corner alone. I'm going to drag this maybe to there. I don't know. I'm not loving it. So we're going to adjust these lines a little bit. Arrow keys, people. Look at that. That's okay. For my icon, what I'm going to do, that's going to be just fine. So here's what I want to do next. I want to just take this general shape. I'm not going to color any of this in unless I have something I want to specifically use. I'm going to highlight all of this and look what happens. Only the stroke is going to show up, even though these are made with a shape. This was made with a line segment tool. There's no fill. But what I want to do is beef up, let's say, all of the stroke here. So I'm going to go back to my 5-point. You can see it closed that gap for me. It also attached this point here. I'm not sure I love the thickness of that. Maybe what that ends up being is, a solid. And then maybe this here will become a solid as well. And now I kind of got a nozzle, and I got my spray, and I got my can of air. Okay. Pretty quick, pretty simple. No, I didn't connect everything. Like I said, I'm not trying to make theirs, I'm making mine. Now, if I wanted to add in more detail, I can do that. If I wanted, if I just wanted like a graphic of like dusty stuff. Whoops. let's say if I go like this, kind of make like some kind of airflow kind of idea. Can't do that with black circles, so I'm going to take those out, and I'm going to use my shape builder tool again. I'm going to connect all this stuff, and I've kind of got this little puff of whatever this product is called. I'm thinking my lines. I'm going to keep everything consistent with this 5 point. So let's just say that's my product, and maybe it's being shot up in the air. I don't know. Why not? And I'm going to keep duplicating these. I'm using that option key, dragging these over. And let's say if this one's a little bit shorter. Maybe this one's even shorter. Maybe get a little bit more length here. Got a little bit of movement, and there's my product. So quick, easy. Like I said, guys, you can pick stuff from around your surroundings, redraw them, make them easy. Sometimes you need a reference point. Sometimes you don't.